Game number 1, it is grand final time, everybody, and Northern Isles, and we have, on Northern Isle, we have down to the bottom left, the Fogster, Foggy, the Nightelf. After he took down Sonic in the semi-final with a 2-0, he finds himself facing an Orc player all the way up to the top right. It is Spiral, the German Orc player, able to take down Starshaped in the semi. He was surrounded by Night Elves, actually, as the top 4 finally were determined, and now he's going up against another one. And the big question in this best of 3 series at the Endgame Gear Masters is obviously, can he take down Foggy? It's not going to be easy by any means, but he's definitely going to try. This is the grand final of the first qualification tournament for the Endgame Gear Masters. 3 qualifiers in total, and through the qualifiers the players are able to gain points for a ranking. And at the end of the 3rd qualifier, the top 8 in the ranking will make it into the final tournament. A double elimination system tournament where 2,500 euros of prize money await. And a huge chunk of hardware as well. Several CPUs and graphics cards for the players to win. And it's going to be pretty epic, so big shout out to Endgame Gear for sponsoring and setting up the tournament together with me. I'm super happy to be hosting this. Again, this has been in the works for quite a long time, and I'm happy that we are finally here with the first qualifier. Blade Master first, as we're starting things up, and on the other side, when it comes to the first hero, we have a Keeper again. Now keep in mind that actually the top 4 will make it to an offline event as well, and this offline event takes place in Germany, in Osnabrück, at the Esports Factory, and is also open to the public. So if you guys are interested, definitely make sure that you head over to endgamegear-masters.com and have a look at the offline final part of the subpage there. You can get a ticket. Ticket is $5, and don't worry, this is actually more so to track how many people plan on attending so that the facility can prepare, because the ticket also includes that once that you are at the event, you get a drink for free. So pretty much the ticket is free, but in order to make sure that they have a bit of an idea how many people plan on attending the event, there's a price tag attached that then, so to say, you get back by getting that free drink to boot. But it would be pretty awesome to see a couple of you guys there. As I already said in the past, the players are obviously going to be there. I'm going to be there myself too. There's a barbecue planned in the evening as well. So a chill WarCraft 3 day and a pretty cool weekend. So if you live nearby or you want to travel a little bit further, get a couple of friends together and head on over. And those 2 players that we're currently having here, they might be making it to the offline event. They're at least the ones that get at least 4 points for the standings. Now the winner is actually going to get 6 points, which pretty much qualifies you for the final tournament already. But we'll find out who that is. The Keeper on level 2 for Foggy. We're also seeing the Blade Master now again moving around. As I said in the past, there has obviously been a couple of, or there have been a couple of changes to the Blade Master, especially the way that Windwalk works these days is slightly different. The cooldown is not being triggered after you activate it, but instead triggered after you break stealth. Has also been significantly reduced, but there is still a small window now where you all of a sudden find yourself a bit more vulnerable. So you can't make these plays anymore where you are in Windwalk for a long duration of time, get a crit through, and then immediately hide in the Windwalk again and rush out. So it makes it a little bit more tricky to deal with the Blade, also to execute those Blade Master plays. But at the same time, the crit is now calculated as it was in the old days, where every single piece of damage that you have calculates into your crit, and not as it was in the patches before, that only the stats damage calculates into it and the item damage gets attached on top of that. So a little bit of a difference there. Blizzard with some patch shenanigans as they're trying to balance the game a little bit more. They also shifted a lot of the creep spots and items around. Can't find those Tombs of Experience anymore, for example. So trying to make the game a little bit more safe. And especially the Tomb of Experience, sorry, a little bit more fair and also like safe in that sense, yeah. So especially in the old days, Tomb of Experience were always a huge deal. And there were a lot of agreements, especially in grand finals, where both of the players, for example, just set off right at the start and made an agreement where they said whoever finds a Tomb of Experience has to destroy it. And these days, you didn't see that all that much anymore. But Blizzard definitely trying to balance the game a little bit. Then again, you can always argue, and there are always arguments, of course, when it comes to balance, that those attempts are not quite successful, and you will find a lot of people discussing exactly that. But the attempt at least is there. For now, we're also having Foggy, with a bit more creeping going on. Has in the inventory the Dust of Appearance, which obviously is going to help to track the Blade Master a little bit. We're seeing the Augur Magi on level 5 as Foggy dropped the Sentry Ward going down, and as an additional item we're gaining the Ring of Protection. +4, by the way. All of those rings have been buffed a bit as well, since players obviously complained previously that the ring is pretty much totally worthless and not really worth a slot in the inventory. Not even to carry it to sell it at the shop there. So all of the rings have been buffed a bit by Blizzard in the recent patch too. Parry up to Vitality now been taken. We're also seeing the Circlet of Nobility as the Blade Master is attempting to reach level 3. In the main base, the Shadow Hunter has already rejoined the battle. We've seen him in the previous game against Starship actually. Spirit Lodge now also being built down at the bottom of the map. We're having the tech into the Tree of Ages completed. The expansion is nearly done too. And obviously, we're already having here Spiral moving up here and down since he glimpsed that earlier. Foggy with the Sentry Ward is making sure that the Blade Master can't really do too much there. And he's still looking to get some additional items, and we already have an Ankh of Reincarnation taken here for the Alchemist. So, pretty awesome for him. Gets TC ult pretty much here. As we're having the Blade Master reaching level 3. And now with his own Sentry Wards trying to get some additional vision. Very likely actually gonna move down to the bottom of the map and drop that sentry somewhere near the expansion. That's at least one chance. Blade Master is already looking to see if he can maybe have a kill there. And yes, there it is. Nicely done. Trying to get a bit more damage through already, and every single hit matters. There's the Dust of Appearance being used. A level 2 for the Alchemist, who now also holds the Ring of Protection. And the Blade Master moves down. Probably going to drop a Sentry Ward here any moment. Or does he? Well, he actually tries to slow down that tree a little bit and already get some decent damage in. Yep, and he has the Sentry, and all of a sudden it's just like, wait a second, what? So, yeah, this particular one is not going to survive for all that much. One Peon, very much alone there. Peter the Peon already taken down. Not a lot of love for him. The Blade Master is obviously going to continue the entire time now to be a bit of a nuisance there. We're having the Polar Furbolg Tracker taken on. And yep, the Blade Master still trying to piss off the Nightelf a little bit. Crystal Ball also now claimed. Okay, so a little bit more vision on him. Not quite the item that he probably... Oh, nice! Actually, the Boots of Khaldor actually missed those. And he has a Circlet of Nobility too. So that Blade Master with an additional 8 damage. The crit is going to be happy about that. 43 supply for Spiral, and Foggy is sitting at 37, so still slightly behind, but obviously now has the added advantage of being able to rely on an additional income in a couple of seconds, entangling gold mine as we speak, and then we are going to see all of those wisps being put to some use. Double Ancient of War is now being built, which puts us up to 3, so you can start to pump out these units even more. We're having the improved Strength of the Moon, which gives us the second attack upgrade for the Huntresses. And with all these hunts in action, we're now seeing a couple of Shamans with the Adept upgrade, but we don't really have a whole lot of piercing damage against those bad boys. So this is something where he definitely has to shift gears a little bit if he wants to address that directly. A Watchtower is already built just to be on the safe side if there's a counter attack. That would help a lot against those. But the attack is coming towards the expansion. And with 44 supply against 41, this is actually still a pretty advantageous situation for Spiral when it comes to the numbers game at least. You have a bit of piercing damage in form of the Sentry Wards, but not really on the unit side here. But here comes the attack, and this is actually a good chance, because so far this expansion hasn't done a thing. I mean, this is a perfect timing here. The expansion hasn't done a thing. Now we have the Ancient of Wars there, but he's going straight for the Entangled Gold Mine, and there is just Serpent Wards galore. They are everywhere. And here comes the attack right now, trying to take the Treants down here already. In terms of army supply, we're definitely having a bit of an advantageous situation for Spiral, but there's still a bit of a defender's advantage for the Nightelf, and mana is starting to become a little bit low for the Blade Master. Still has a couple of good items there. Experience 3.5 and level 3, and they're still trying to take down the Entangled Gold Mine and trying to also take down those Wisps. Yep, there's the Lightning Shield again, and as soon as they can take this one down, there's at least no income any longer. That's exactly what's happening here. The Alchemist already trying to get some value with Healing Spray, as we see the Blade Master moving into again, looking for the next critical, and the damage is just coming through. That piercing damage against the Huntress is absolutely wrecking them. Healing Spray trying to keep them in play. 52 supply for Foggy. Spiral on 48 right now. He wants to break through this, and he takes the Huntress one after another. Jumping in onto the next one. Mana on the Shadow Hunter. He still has another mana potion. There's just one Serpent Ward after another. Those are already on level 2, and the Hunters are just suffering the entire time here. The expansion currently not doing jack shit. He doesn't get anything out of this. Is Entangling Goldmine again, but the Keeper nearly down, gets an item and just barely grabs it. Scroll of Speed being used. The Keeper in a corner, but he's going for the units as we speak. More Serpent Wards on the ground, and Foggy is getting absolutely wrecked by Spiral at this point in time. They're making the play for the Alchemist, but the Anchor of Reincarnation is still there. Treant's coming in again as Foggy is trying to hold the Orc player off. The Archers are falling one after another. Level 4 at this point for the Blade Master, and he is going in again with even more damage, but the Grunts are falling. 1 Grunt down, 2 Grunts down. Level 3 on the Alchemist. The Archers getting absolutely murdered, and those Wisps are gonna be a close second in that. Again on the run. Foggy is down to 36 supply, and we're seeing Spiral on 37. Incredibly close. Up to the top. There's the Watchtower. Great Hall getting built too, but we have the Keeper with a few more items. Gets the scroll, or sorry, the Staff of Teleportation, and moves in with the Scroll of Healing, trying to save what's there to save. The base is up again. He has 3 Wisps in, and that's something that Spiral hasn't taken down yet, but the hero is in a bit of trouble. Has a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, and with the Purge they're going in for the Keeper once more. Keeper's not the only thing that's getting attacked here, but that Blade Master is hungry for the kill. The Shamans, on the other hand, are already about to fall, and in the meantime, the Keeper still trying to get away here and reaches the Moonwells. But the Blade Master is actually getting a little bit too aggressive for his own good, as it seems. Trying to move out, and that's a perfect trap. That is actually really well done. Rooting the Ancient of War again. No chance for him to escape. The ring around the tree, and the kill. Blade Master with a kill goes for the Ancient of Wonders. The rest is already happening up over here as the purges come through against the summoned units. 32 supply against 36, and the expansion is nearly ready for Spiral as well. But that Blade Master is not going to get out of the base anytime soon. And that's a problem. And at this point, you just have to ask yourself, how do you deal with that situation? Do you sacrifice the hero? Do you try and break through? More Purge coming up to the top. And that Shadow Hunter is on level 4. The hero levels 3 and 3 on the side of the Nightelf. A double level 4 on the side of the Orc. But that Blade Master is still trapped. It was a great move by Foggy. I mean, he lost the hero, but he pretty much checkmated this one. Down at the bottom of the map, we are still seeing the expansion in play. Up to the top, we now have a double income for Orc as well. And in comes the Blade Master again. Tries to go for even more aggression. And he's still not able to get out. And he got caught by the Dust of Appearance. Yeah, well, another attack might just be what he needs there. Ooh, and goodbye. That's level 4 for the Keeper. Foggy trades a kill for a kill pretty much, and as we can see, everybody is already gathering up around the tavern. Blade Master just wanted to go for a quick one, got 1 beer in and then immediately got pulled out again. So now we have him on 45 supply against 52. But the one thing that we should definitely mention is that we still have a pretty solid army here for Spiral. And the hero levels are obviously going to make a huge difference. And if Foggy plans to keep attacking with Huntress, for example, he is probably going to be in for a pretty rough battle, just simply because we have those Serpent Wards the entire time. Huntress on 2 attack upgrades now, and those Grunts have 2 armor, but this is a Watchtower that is pretty difficult to reach, and breaking through that, I mean, good luck with that. With Glaive Throwers, maybe you have a shot there, but just attacking head-on with those Hunts is going to be tricky, especially still since the Shadow Hunter is sitting at 360 mana, and has a mana potion on top of that too. So yep, there we go again. Grand final time, first map, and here comes the army. Spiral on 50, Foggy on 56, Serpent Wards in play, and here comes the damage, here come the attacks. The first hunt nearly down, actually gets destroyed here. The healing spray is coming in again, but there's just too much. There's too much against the Huntress. Foggy needs to be careful. As long as he can't bait out Spiral, he should be fine, the Orc that is. And he's already moving away. He's trying to bait those hunts straight into the range of the Watchtower, and so far they're doing a fantastic job with that. The Watchtower's just shelling away the entire time, and those unarmored hunts are taking the extra damage. The surround against the Blade Master, and oh my god, this could change everything! The kill! And he goes for the Shadow Hunter. The Shadow Hunter with a couple more wards. The Shadow Hunter trying to survive. They're trying to focus him down. He still has the heals though. The Keeper is low too, and they might be able to take him down eventually. Another heal wave. The Hunter all getting wrecked. He's wrecking the entire army, but he loses the hero. Level 5 for the Keeper. More units are falling. The hunt is down 40 supply, 38 for Foggy, and 48 for Spiral. But he lost both his heroes. Both of them surrounded, both of them eliminated. Spiral defeats the army. He has the better army here, but now he doesn't have a hero left. Unbe-fucking-leavable. He looked fantastic in that spot, but now we're seeing Foggy moving in and trying to change it. Already, the PN, he could change it all. Running towards the tavern, saying, boys, we need to buy those heroes back. The Purge against the Keeper. Don't tell me he takes it down now with units alone. He nearly does, but the healing spray is there. Level 4 now for the Alchemist, and the units alone force the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Now we have the Shadow Hunter back, and he needs that bad boy. He needs it. He needs those Serpent Wards. 44 supply for Spiral at this point. 48 for Foggy. He's really fighting his way back into this. Level 5 Keeper, and he all of a sudden has the advantage when it comes to hero level. That's the biggest problem. The entire time Spiral was in head on the experience, and now he's falling behind here. If he saves one hero, if he saves both, he might have won the game right there, but all of a sudden the things start turning. He is forced in a more defensive position right now. He's still waiting also for the Blade Master to come back. Already the attack up here to the top. Here comes the Shadow Hunter once again, this time with the level 3 wards, and that's even more trouble for those hunts. He needs to keep that Shadow Hunter in play too. He has a scroll of healing. He has also a potion of healing, eating it already, sitting straight to the shop, and here comes the Blade Master. Blade Master comes in again, and the Purge attempt immediately on the Keeper, and the Keeper in trouble, but the Staff of Preservation is saving him. It's time for the Khaldors. It's time for the Khaldors to just snap away what they can. It's snack time, and they are going straight in. Prime time, snack time, as they are trying to get the hits in, but first of all, another Huntress is about to fall. And that could be it. Right now, Spiral with 50 supply against the Nightelf that is sitting at 54. But the army is definitely there. And the huge tier 2 army that we're seeing from Spiral. He goes straight to the shop again. And those Serpent Wards are a disaster for Foggy. He can't really go into additional Huntress right now without getting completely demolished there from those piercing damage thingies, like the Serpent Wards. The Polar Furball Tracker, on the other hand, well, if they get the Alchemist to level 5 and get a few additional items in, that might just be it, but damn, son. That is an insane game here already. Honestly, it could have been over. It could have been over. Foggy got a real bloody nose as he went for that base, and he pretty much lost nearly his entire army, but he killed the 2 heroes, and that changed everything. Now it's all about experience again, and the Blade Master isn't level 5 yet, and that's exactly what he's trying to change here. So he moves in for the Ring of Protection +3, and he has the Bladey on level 4. Main base, 2,500 gold on both sides. A little bit more creeping happening over here too. And there is not going to be a creep check anytime soon, because the Orc player is just sitting tight at his own base instead of moving over to the top left. Alchemist again wants to hit the next level and will most likely do that soon. Strength and agility now increased, which is definitely nice for an Alchemist. 1,000 hit points already for him. But it's item time. It is item time. Get a few more items here and then try and see if you can set up another attack. 69 supply against 62 at this point. And the Shadow Hunter on level 5. And as we all know, if you have a Shadow Hunter of level 5, you really mush aufpassen. So he needs to be a bit careful here. He really needs to pay attention to this one. Spiral is already going for the offensive now, so he's kind of done just saying on the defense. Wants to be aggressive here. Still has also the double Kodo Beast in play. And let's look at the main base. No additional attack from him. I mean, we are still having a couple of upgrades, obviously. You look over towards the grunts, and we have the 2 armor upgrades that I mentioned earlier. We have a few more items that were built too. But we have attack into the Tree of Eternity for Foggy, so he's definitely the one trying to add some additional tier 3 units. And once that those are in play, the Orc army is going to have a bit of a problem there. So right now, Spiral is trying to make sure that he uses that window while he has it. Is already moving in again, but needs to be careful with all of those Huns just dropping a few of additional owls onto those trees. And here comes the attack. So I would assume starting to move in slowly. Having a lot of adept shamans here. 4, 5, 6 of them. The grunts and also the Kodos. And he goes straight in, try and take the production buildings down again. And this Ancient of War should be down pretty quickly. Right now, here comes the move. Huntress everywhere. 2-1 upgrades on them. And yep, on the upgrade department, he's definitely looking pretty good. But there's also that piercing damage. And again, Serpent Wards, look at that damage output, 48 to 52. So these things are just absolutely wrecking, and you can just purge those screens away, which is exactly what they're doing. Scroll of Protection being used, and there's already a couple of lightning shields as well. In comes the Detonate, trying to relieve them of all their mana. Spiral on 67 supply, 69 for Foggy, more lightning shields right there. And the Blade Master is doing what the Blade Master does. He wrecks that backline. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability already being used as he's just going from one crit into another. The healing wave over and over again. As long as the Shadow Hunter has mana, Foggy is in trouble. 62 supply against 51. Foggy is getting murdered here. But the Keeper, saved again by the Alchemist with the Staff of Preservation, moves back to both of those on level 5, but the Blade Master is nearly level 6, and so is the Shadow Hunter. He goes for the expansion, and at this point, Foggy knows that he's in trouble. He's trying to break through this, but he has to go straight through the Serpent Wards again. Healing sprays coming in. Alchemist on level 5. Here comes the attack once again. He has a Town Port. He could always move out if he really has to, and he's trying to go for the focus. There are no wisps anymore outside of this one, and that's the end of the expansion. Without mana, he can just move away right now, and that's exactly what he's doing. He sacrifices another grunt, and he is slowly moving out of harm's way. But with the mana that's left, we are seeing another entangle, another ensnare coming through, and there is the portal. Moves out, and in the base, there is still the turret. He can go to the shop right now, and Foggy is obviously on a timer at this point. He needs to go in, and he needs to try and decide the game now. He can't just leave that expansion up on the side of Spiral, or the Orc player will just completely outproduce him. 67 supply against 49. 5 and 5 heroes. All the heroes are level 5. All 4 of them on both sides. And now, of course, level 6 nearly coming in. Look at that Shadow Hunter. He just needs 10 HP, and he's going to be on level 6. And the Blade Master is incredibly powerful too. Scouted on the left side to just make sure that there's nothing happening there. A couple of additional items coming in now too. As with the Scroll of Protection, we're seeing Foggy trying to go straight in for the kill. Again, the Purge being used against the Treants. But here comes the Blade Master with the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability in the inventory, trying to make sure that he puts more pressure onto the archers. In come all of the Serpent Wards, and he's wrecking it. Level 6 right now, and that is game as Foggy taps out. He had enough of the beating that he just received at the hands of Spiral, and that is the lead for the German Orc player in the best of 3 series here at the grand final of the Endgame Gear Masters. Game number 2 in the best of 3 grand final, and oh boy, is Spiral killing it today. I mean, seriously, that guy is a handful. He went in and took down Foggy in the first game. Pretty impressive performance here by our Orc player. But as we're heading into Amazonia, we have to the top right Foggy. He's not going to be happy with that. He is definitely going to try and push this to game 3, starting out to the top right of the map. Down to the bottom left, we have again in yellow Spiral, the Orc player that hasn't lost a single map yet today. And his performance here is pretty stellar. He's 1 map away from crowning himself the champion of the first qualifier. Foggy obviously having quite a bit of a different idea of how this is going to end, so he's going to aim for that 2-1 victory. But Spiral had a pretty good run today, and the question is just simply, can he pull that off again? And we'll find out. down at the bottom of the map. Let's see what he's going to start things off with again. We had a lot of Farseer games from him today, but those Blade Master matches have actually done a pretty good job at pressuring the backline in particular. Especially that Keeper has already nightmares of a Blade Master with a pretty big blade running past him and trying to take him down there. So the Altar of Elders with the Keeper as the first hero, having the Ancient of War again pretty close to the camp as you would expect. And down on the bottom of the map, our first hero for the Orc player is again the Blade Master right there. Alright. So let's see how that's going to pan out, with the Wisp already going straight bit for a scouting thing. I gotta say I'm impressed, honestly. I didn't see Spiral making it this deep into the tournament and really taking lead against Foggy too. Not saying that the guy is bad or so, obviously he's not, but when you looked at the lineup of players that signed up for the tournament, he was not really a name that immediately came to mind when I thought, okay, who do I see potentially making it into the grand final? So I'm really impressed here by the performance, and it's a pretty good setup that he has started up here for himself for the grand final. So let's see if he can win one of the potential next two maps here, or if Foggy is now starting to turn this franchise around. He's definitely off to a good start with the creep. Pretty standard here for him, nothing really too crazy. Finds the circle of mobility, so he's going to be happy about this one. The early level 2 for him as well. And we're seeing a circlet also for Tojara. Getting that one there too. And let's see how much he can actually get around with this. The Forest Troll Berserker goes down. And there's the Spider Socks. Alright, so going full Spider-Man with this one. Which means that we're now having an additional 5 damage for him early on in the game. Definitely nothing to sneeze on, especially when you're working on your crit damage for the later stages of the game. So damage items always welcome if you're playing with the Blade Master. The Keeper is already hoofing it into the bottom left though, trying to attack a bit there, but already spotted, and therefore the Orc Burrow is manned immediately. The Treants are starting to come in, but should actually not be able to do too much. Then again, might be able to force it. Nah, not gonna be able to force it. Not with the Burrow and the Blade Master already in action, but it's definitely forcing a reaction out of the Orc player here. So a bit more of a slower start. The Grunt, again, busy on the map. And should actually go down here, because that Keeper is going to drop the Entangle again. And since he still has a pretty big mana pool, he should be easily able to drop a second one, if even needed, which I honestly doubt. So, yep, the Grunt is down, and that's already a big loss here for the Orc. But it also buys him a little bit of time, where he can start creeping at the bot lane without getting harassed by the Keeper. So he gets another item, and look at that, he gets both socks. That's awesome. So he's not going straight for the UK treatment where you have two different ones, but nope, he has matching socks now, which is always amazing. So yeah, the sock game on the Blade Master is definitely on point. I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. And the Blade Master is going to spot where the Keeper is busying himself, yeah? And when it comes to items, I mean, now he has also another boost into his primary attribute, thanks to the Mantle of Intelligence that we're seeing here. And we're having on top of that, the Dust of Appearance. A little bit of action here. Going again for the steal. And it is time for the last hit, baby! Whoop whoop! And he gets the the thingy as well, the book, the tomb. That's always the annoying thing when you're playing against the Blade Master. You think you're fine, and then all of a sudden the last hit comes through and you're just sitting there and you're thinking, shit, why me? So, always a nuisance. That's what Blade Masters do. And in this case, he has a Dust of Appearance as well, so he gets another nice crit through. That's additional 80 damage against the Keeper. And, I mean, the more you pressure the Keeper, the more you're going to suck those Moonwells dry. And once that the Moonwells dry up, a Night Elf's performance is significantly hindered right there. So, yep, with this, another big attack against them, and the Blade Master is currently absolutely happy to just go straight into Foggy's base and harass him as much as he possibly can. We're still having a couple of Treants and Wisps on the scout. Again, the Shadow Hunter coming in as a second hero. And honestly, the Blade Master and Shadow Hunter combo is incredibly powerful. I mean, it's not only about how... you are pretty flexible with the setup. If your opponent goes into tier 1 units and tries, for example, to go straight for Hunters, you have the Serpent Wards that you can use. If you're realizing that it's a completely different playstyle, you could switch up abilities a little bit and go into the Hex and focus into that. Try and snipe units by hexing them and then getting the kills in with Blade Master and Focus Fire. So it's a really cool reactionary hero in a lot of these situations where you can either deal with aggression on the other side, or you can build it up yourself, or just set up something around a siege moment when you're attacking an opponent's base, like we've seen in game number 1 between the two players. And still in the early game here, we have pretty even experience. When it comes to the abilities, we have the Serpent Wards again as level 1. There's no real deviation away from the previous tactic from Foggy either. He goes into an earlier expand, and he also has the Alchemist as the second hero. The Blade Master, on the other hand, gets caught here, needs to be quite careful. There is probably going to be another Entangle in this future, and yep, there it is. So all of a sudden, Spiral is having to be afraid a bit for his hero here. Is trying to move away, and that's going to be the end of the Blade Master. The Blade Master's down, that's it. Blade Master is down, and that's more experience for the Keeper right there. Good job by Foggy, really well done. This time he was prepared, this time he wasn't fooled, he had the vision, and now as the Tree of Life is eating itself straight here through the forest, has been built over here, makes its way to the expansion, the setup for the Nightelf player is pretty stellar. I mean, level 2 for the Alchemist, you have the Potion of Greater Healing already, and he is in a really nice position at this point. Not only does he get extra experience by taking the Blade Master down, but obviously he's shutting him down for a limited period of time, where he now has a much easier time going straight for the creep spots, since he doesn't have to be afraid of anybody stealing items away or experience. Finds on top of that the Lionhorn of Stormwind now, so extra armor is also in play. And down here at the bottom right, we are at least having the Shadow Hunter trying to get some additional value. And in this case, he's going to get level 3, and he also has the first item, which is the Claws of Attack plus 6. The Blade Master is going to be thankful about that. More damage for him. And he finds also the Gloves of Haste. So this is actually one of the examples when you want to pass the item over from the ranged hero onto the melee hero, just because of that critical ability on the auto attacks for the Blade Master. And now here comes the Ancient of Wonders, the Ancient of War, and in the main base, the upgrades. So similar style for Foggy. And it's actually interesting because Foggy is just not thrown by this. He just goes into game number 2 and says, alright, last game, made a couple of mistakes. This game strategy is still going to work out fine for me, and I'm going to deal with this. And the kill against the Blade Master obviously did already that, but here we go. Plus 20 additional damage, and he has the Gloves of Haste. A little bit chop chop. And is pretty much turning into a meat grinder the more you add there. But he sells the item, doesn't this time use it, and starts to move over. 48 supply for him. And we're seeing Foggy on 50. So this is again the moment in time when you have to think about attacking. Or at least about getting a few more items before you head into the attack. Yes, there's the Scroll of Healing. Because as we said before, if you leave that expansion up for too long and your opponent capitalizes on it, then you're starting to be in trouble. So yeah, you either have to counter-expand, or you have to try and apply pressure. And that's exactly what Spiral is doing right now. But his Blade Master is only on level 2, so he's going up against superior heroes. At the bottom of the map, the scout has already revealed for Foggy that there is no chance to get an expansion in, and he knows that this is pretty much an all-in at this point. If this attack isn't successful, then, well, good luck. So he's just playing this defensive, he's buying himself some time, gets the early damage in against the Blade Master. Yep, that's a problem. He's already down to half HP, and Spiral's chances of making a difference here are pretty slim at this point. Yep, he has a couple of PNs with him as well. He's trying to build the forward shop to make sure that he has something where he can get additional items. But things are a lot trickier, and Spiral at this point is just realizing, well, if I go into this battle, it's pretty much me committing Sudoku. So since he doesn't want to go for suicide, he just decides that he's going to focus onto the creep camps a little bit more, hopes for better items and also experience to be gathered up here. But this is a pretty sweet setup for Foggy now. Foggy has all of a sudden shifted from the player that has to be in the defensive stance to defend his expansion into the player that has a chance to just simply overrun his opponent once that the expansion kicks in properly. And this is exactly what he's currently waiting for. So now we have a couple more items coming into play. There's also a mana potion for the Shadow Hunter, but it just buys Foggy more and more time. That early aggression against the Blade Master, for example, as he was sniffed out at the front, was also incredibly important. This pretty much takes the entire aggression away from the attack. Here comes the Wand of Illusion as they're starting to move in again. Foggy on 60 supply, Spiral on 48. Massive advantage right now for Foggy. Again, he also has a couple of upgrades. He's sitting on 2 attack upgrades, and there's not a single upgrade that we're seeing now for Spiral. He has those shamans in the mix, but it is definitely going to be tricky. And yes, he's sacrificing obviously a couple of wisps there too, and why wouldn't he? That takes down the Wands of Illusion immediately, and he's just pushing his opponent back again. There's very little at this point that Spiral can do, and he's trying. He's actually moving into the choke point here. And with the aura item and everything else, that doesn't really do too much either. More detonates are coming in all over the place, and a lot of the shamans have been affected by it. Well, obviously not all of them, but he is eating a ton of damage here, and he doesn't have enough purges against all of those treants either. In comes the lightning shield. Heal power is there too. Spiral and 52 supply against the 66 of Foggy. The attacks keep coming. 180 on the crit, 118 as he gets one in after another, but there's the level 4 for the Keeper, and the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability used by the Blade Master. Is he gonna try to make another quick play here? No mana on the Shadow Hunter, and there's the GG as Spiral yields the field of battle and acknowledges that he has no chance here in Amazonia. We are gonna see game number 3 in the grand final at the Endgame Gear Masters. Game number 3! We're exactly where we want to be. We go the full distance in this grand final in the first qualifier. Concealed Hill is map number 3, the final map in this series, and up to the top right we have a Spiral, the Orc player from Germany, sitting here after a great win in game number 1. He had to surrender on the second map. Foggy just playing it a little bit too smart with a great kill against the Blade Master in the mid game, and then also applying pressure early on against the Blade Master as Spiral was getting ready for the push, shutting it down early on, forcing Spiral back, allowing Foggy to capitalize on the expansion a bit more, and therefore just having a massive lead not only in hero levels but also on the item department, and in addition to that also when it came to the numbers game alone. So Foggy obviously going to try and repeat that performance and crown himself the champion of the first qualifier here. Spiral had a fantastic run in this tournament, and he is definitely going to try to make sure that it doesn't end here, that he's going to be the first place. Having the Altar of Storms completed, and it's a Blade Master for him again. So let's see if Foggy is switching the style up a little bit. For now he starts off with the Keeper of the Grove again, but the question obviously remains if he's going to change his MO, or we are seeing a similar approach with Huntress into Archers and the attempt to go straight for an expansion here with the Alchemist as the second hero. Scouts are already out, and yep, for now the play around the Blade Master is going to be the most important focus from the perspective of Spiral. Losing that Blade Master earlier was definitely a problem. He couldn't apply any pressure anymore. He just had to yield the battlefield to the Nightelf for a very long duration of time, and that didn't really work out. The Voodoo Launch also in play, and well, on this map obviously when it comes to the camps, the Red Drake camps on the left and right side, and as much as the one here in the middle with the Orglord, are going to be the focus when it comes to items. And on the item department, I gotta say, that Blade Master in the last game looked actually pretty sweet. I mean, you had a lot of damage items right there, especially with stats. I mean, again, everything is calculated into the crit these days again, but the items weren't really too bad for him, so it didn't quite work out. But let's see what game number 3 gives us now. Ring of Protection, +3. First item to be found right here, and having a bit more aggression as the expansion, or the tech is already started up straight into the Great Hall. Down at the bottom of the map, the Hunter's Hall is halfway done, and we're seeing the Keeper doing exactly what he did in the previous games, trying to be a bit aggressive around here. Also going for the treants and for the aggression, and this time it's actually going to be a little bit more annoying because, well, there is currently nothing in terms of an Orc Burrow. There's one that's not completed yet, or the second one's not completed yet, and he might even be able to force a cancel on this one, because this time the Keeper is going pretty deep for it. But with both of the trains already eliminated, doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. There's an attempt to also block in the Keeper. That was not quite successful, mainly because, oh, actually he's trying to trap him here with 2 units, but yeah, the fact that the Keeper can easily go for a few summoned treants is obviously changing the dynamic a little bit. But we are having an attack against the Keeper, and that should be a kill, and that is going to be a kill. Oh, the Town Marshal on 17 HP. Okay, goes in and says, well, I might sacrifice him here, but I actually prefer using the TP. We had a discussion already a bit earlier. question is always, what do you prefer? Buying a new TP then eventually? Are you okay with that? It's pretty expensive. It's more expensive than reviving a level 1 hero, but you're also obviously losing some time, and a lot of players will not be able to, or will not really stand for that. There's a level 2 now for the Keeper, as he gets also a few additional items, and we're having the Huntress coming in and the Archers joining the fun, together with the Treants, another creep happening. But this is a great start for Spiral. Spiral now all of a sudden the one that really turns things around as the attack towards the base, the harass, has started. And yeah, that worked quite nicely for him. Making sure that there's no town portal on the other side makes future attacks against the Keeper a lot better for him. And keep in mind, if you're actually going for one of the Red Drake camps and you don't have a town portal and your opponent moves in at the same time, you are screwed. You are absolutely screwed. So he needs to make sure that he either buys that portal back before he moves into this, or really risk it and pray a little bit there. So either way, we're now having also the Blade Master, Tojara, trying to get some aggressive action going for himself here. Obviously up in the main base. We're having the tech now completed in tier 2, and we should soon see the second hero being produced here for him. And shocking, we have the Shadowhunter again. Spiral on 31 supply right now against the 29 that we have for his opponent. Again with the attempt to take one of the minions down here. Gets the tomb, yep, and immediately moves back as we have a bit of a body block attempt here. The Keeper is pretty low in mana, so can't really be too much of a threat. And with the Blade Master hanging around, he absolutely does not want to go for the Ogre Magi anymore. So, yep, there's another attempt to get a little bit more experience. And the Blade Master gets it. Last hit confirmed right there. We don't have a second hero yet for the Nightelf. Very likely that we're going to have him by the Alchemist in just a moment. But now we have level 2 on both sides and the attempt to go for the Ogre Magi. And that is... Ooh, actually, the experience got stolen away. Yeah, he gets the item, but he didn't get the XP. Unless I need glasses, but I'm actually pretty sure that the 200s were able to sneak the experience in, and the Keeper is all of a sudden on level 3. So yeah, good job. Nicely done by Foggy. Cool move by him. Blade Master still being aggressive there, but again he got the item, so that helps him with additional vision since he has now sentry wards in the mix. Down at the bottom of the map, the Tree of Life is being produced, as you would expect, but with 2 heroes already on the board for Spiral, he definitely has a pretty nice situation there going for himself, and a lot of power with this. But there comes the Alchemist. Alright, 37 supply against 34, and there's the attack, but the immediate force in the fight, and that's the power of the Keeper. In these early stage fights, this is just the beauty of having a Keeper with a good ensnare, good entangle in action. That's exactly what he's going for right now. Against the Shadowhunter, actually. If the Shadowhunter falls, then the Orc would find himself in a bit of a downward spiral, so he needs to be really careful and try and keep this bad boy alive. And it's not really happening. Nope, this one is down. He can at least get a couple of counter kills. There are so many Serpent Wards that they at least get serious damage against those Hunters, but it's just not enough. And with now Knight still being active, the Fountain of Health can be easily accessed to just heal up all of that damage there. So really good kill against the second hero, only level 1, but still making sure that that Shadowhunter is not reaching level 2 or 3 anytime soon. So now at the bottom of the map, now we're having still Moonwells pretty much up. We're also seeing the Ancient of War and the Ancient of Wonders again. He's going for this expansion once more. And it's pretty much exactly the same style that we've seen from Foggy now 3 times in a row. In game number 1 it wasn't successful. There's the Scout, by the way, as the expansion is about to be started. And the last time, actually, or on game number 1, what happened was that Spiral counter-expanded. He actually set an expansion up as well. And let's see if he's going to try and make that work. Instead, we're actually seeing him with the Kodo Beast here. So there's first of all the Tomb of Intelligence. Shadowhunter's happy about that, hasn't found any experience up to this point, gets the first few now. But he needs to somehow deal with this expansion at the bottom of the map. Now, of course, there is still a little bit of time. The Goldman has to be entangled, Wisps have to be sent over, and then there's an initial investment that you make when you go into an expansion like this one that has to, of course, just pay for itself. So that's definitely true. But in the meantime, you need to get something out of all of this for your efforts, and Spiral is trying to make sure that with the added tech that he has and those extra shamans, he can make the aggression work towards the bot lane. Once that you have the perch on the shamans, you can really just try and use that as an attempt to already take that gold mine down. But the Blade Master is in trouble again, and, well, That could be a bit close. Yep, there's the entangle again. Guys, that is not going well for him. He is... Oh, 2 hit points. No! Oh my god. Oh, the Blade Master taken down by the Ancient of War. Escapes with 2 hit points. And then this happens in the 3rd game. Oh my god, it gets worse. Oh god, talking about downward spirals. He gets to level 2 for the Shadow Hunter, but not only did he lose in this 3rd game of the best of 3, the Blade Master to an Ancient of War. At the same time, he lost a Grunt creeping. Oh, that hurts. 41 supply against, well, 47, and the expansion is an added thorn in his side. This is a massive problem, boys. This could honestly be the end of this. Especially with this army now getting caught. This is a disaster. This is an unmitigated disaster. The Keeper's at full mana. That's just going to be in snares all over the place. And you can purge that shit all day long. I don't really care. But he's going to lose a couple of units right now. And there's the chase already on. He's just on the run using that scroll of speed that he has. But the hunt is on. And yep, this one is going to fall. The Shaman is definitely going to be down. And the rest of the team is already on the run as well. Yeah, Team Orc is in trouble. In a lot of trouble. Pathing is actually working for him. Okay. That might have just saved him a little bit. Sap and wards are there, so they might be able to get away from this one for a little bit longer. But there's still a Kodo Beast and a Grunt that are in trouble too. And that Blade Master is still down. So at this point, starting to take the fight. Kodo Beast gets 100 and is moving away. There's a Lightning Shield already being dropped as well. But yeah, he's trying to keep this alive for as long as he can. Blade Master is still not back and he's just running. 44 supply against 56. And things are not looking good with this expansion just fully in position right now. There's the End Snare and the Entangle, and they are going straight in for the Shadow Hunter. And the Shadow Hunter's in trouble. The Blade Master is back, but the Shadow Hunter is just on the run and gets chased down. And once again, the Hunters are trying to close in for the surround. And this time, with the help of the train, they actually get it. And that's going to be the end of the Shadow Hunter. And it might be the end of the grand final run that we have from Spiral. 59 supply against 40. Spiral is in trouble and he's losing just way too much here. The Kodo is down to drops the Huntress and this is a cleanup job. GG gets dropped. Spiral leaves the game, or will in a second, and that is Foggy claiming victory in the first Endgame Gear Masters qualifier. Congratulations to the Nightelf player, also congratulations to the Orc player for a fantastic tournament run, but at the end of the day, it's the Nightelf that takes the best of 3 series with a 2-1 victory.